Hey everybody, welcome back to When Harry Met Board Games, where we feed our people with relatable content and our victory condition is your satisfaction. I'm Harry.
And I am Lily.
And today we'll be having another episode of Lily's Top Games of the Month, also known as Board Games of the Bride. So Lily, are you ready to get straight to it?
I'm ready. I was just looking at stuff and I'm really ready.
All right, awesome. So first we're going to start talking about the games that we've been playing recently that are new to us, in particular new to Lily. Some may or may not be. Actually, this group is all new to me as well. And we're going to get Lily's thoughts on all these games, and then we'll move on to upcoming plays. So the first game we're going to be talking about today is Exit by Inca and Marcus Brand, and this in particular is the Pharaoh's Tomb version of Exit. So Lily, what do you have to say?
It is an empty box.
Yes, well, there's actually, I left one souvenir there, the little dial.
Oh yeah, you're
right. The mystery dial.
Yeah, the mystery dial.
Yeah.
You used up all the components in the box. We actually went into a very, hopeful that we were going to be solving the problems and the riddles and everything. Are they English?
What do you mean?
From England?
No, they're from Eastern Europe.
They're European.
I don't want to misquote where they're from, but yeah.
Either way, it is a very English-like type of thought. I feel like I was not in the same wavelength of the people that made it, so we didn't get a lot of the clues.
Yes.
It could have been because we're dumb. I would like to say
that might be it.
I would like to say that it's because they're in a different wavelength.
It was our first time also playing this type of game. Very puzzly.
Like literally, you have to think outside of the box. Sometimes you even have to use the box to do things. And I wasn't ready.
Spoiler alert.
I guess I wasn't ready for stuff like that. But other than that, I really like the theme. It made for a very fun cooperative night, which inspired me. And I will post later about it, to buy like wall arts of different themes, including Egyptians, Egyptian theme, pharaoh-like theme. So I really liked it. Just didn't do really well at it. In fact, we did really horrible at it. We had the theme. There's like an app that you download as well, and there's soundtrack that plays in the background, and there's also like a timer. And they score you based on how long it took you to do certain things.
I think we scored a 1, which is the lowest possible score.
Yeah, and how many clues
you
needed
we used
to get
every clue we could get. We took 2 hours and we just quit. We didn't even finish.
We did, because we're like, let's just admit defeat while we're at it. You know what I'm saying? Make this into like some other type of game night. So 2 hours later, empty box. We butchered the whole thing, cut, ripped, whatever, and still didn't win.
Yeah.
However, it was a fun adventure.
I think it takes a certain personality type and gamer type to appreciate it, but I can see its value if you do like that type of game.
Just do it for the process, not for the results, which is a very different way of me looking at stuff. I always like to win. You're not going to win, but you're going to have fun if you like to do arts and crafts, which I do.
Cool.
And you're gonna have a dial at the end as the only whole component of the whole thing.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to our next game, and this was the game of Steam, designed by Martin Wallace. Tell us a little bit about Steam, Lily.
Steam! It lived up to my expectations.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I could have sworn you had a good time playing it.
I thought it was too long and boring. Wasn't this the one that I said it was too long and boring?
I don't remember you saying that. I think the second time maybe you gave that impression. We played with our friend Andrew a couple times. Lily did not win either time, so maybe that
probably why
factors in.
But no, I mean, we'll have to do one of these videos with Andrew one day. But like, yeah, Steam, if you look at the back, it tells you a little bit of what the board is supposed to look like. Essentially, there are tiles that have different configurations, and you're using them of tracks.
Yeah.
So you're using them kind of like you would use Carcassonne in a way to, like with the Carcassonne roads, like in different ways and stuff like that. However, there was like so much confusion in this game. Like, we didn't know, like, there are some tiles that have like a city on top. There are some tiles that have like a town on top. There are some tiles that convert the town to a city. You didn't know, like, you're supposed to have like X amount of people owning the whole track. Like, I'm building this track, it's my track to build, and I'm collecting everything that comes from it. However, sometimes the tracks interact, so we didn't know like when one ended and the other one finished.
I mean, there was one
started.
particular time, the first time that we played, that we were a little confused about the rules, but we did clarify it. I checked on the forums, you know.
So I found that once Harry checked in the forum, we then realized that half of the tiles we couldn't even use.
No,
Yeah,
that wasn't the
so-
case. You could build a tile, a complex tile. You just got to make sure that you're continuing your already existing.
Yeah, but I wanted to build a complex
connection.
tile to like branch off something he's doing to build my own. But you can't do that in this game. Like you could do that into any other game. Like in Carcassonne, you could get something that has 2 or 3 roads and branch off some other place and start a new road. Here you can't do
the
that.
tile placement is actually very secondary to this game. I think
Whatever.
we're making it was one particular incident that Lily, for whatever reason, was frustrated about the thing, but it's really an economic game. It's about managing your debt. Like you get into debt in order to be able to take certain actions, and as your engine builds up, literally a train engine and figuratively your gaming engine, you're able to bring in more income, and as you bring more income, you have more options to spare to actually, instead of increasing your income, increasing your victory points, which is ultimately what wins you the game. And finding that balance is really the struggle.
So there are certain people that will appreciate it. I don't fall in that category. I do like that purple theme on the outside. I will be playing Ticket to Ride instead.
All
or
right.
Power Grid.
How about that? All right, let's move on to the next game, and that is Kingsborough, designed by Andrea Chiarvesio and Luca Iannacco. This is the second edition. Tell us what you think about Kingsborough.
Kingsborough is a really great game. I did really good at Kingsborough, didn't I?
You've lost 3 times.
Oh shoot! I had a really good time. Like, look,
So
I
much for
lost. I lost at the other one. Listen, it's about what I remember about the game, right? It's not how much I win. Maybe it is, but it's about how it made me feel. Steam, it made me get in debt, and I lost poorly. But I didn't enjoy the process. Exit, I enjoyed the process. I still lost, and so did I guess so did I on this one as well.
So tell us a little about the game. What's going on here?
All right, so in this game, you are collecting resources to your. I guess it has 2 boards, right? It has the board that everybody is sharing, or do we each have our board?
Well, that's the main board where we're
Yeah.
taking our worker placement actions.
And I guess
It's a worker placement game.
In the 2-player game, there's 2 fake players that block spaces as well.
Yeah, 2 little dummy
Right?
players. Yeah.
And then we each have our own blue board over here, and we're trying to build buildings. I guess right word.
From left to right. Yep.
From left to right. The buildings will give us some sort of powers, especially because the way it's designed at the end of like every 4 rounds or something, like not 4 rounds, but every 4 turns, you get attacked, and so you need to have like your army ready with army powers. So you're kind of like trying to figure out which buildings give you more army victory points. And at the same time, you're using the roll of the die. Like you're rolling 2, 3 dice. Sometimes you're rolling 4 dice in different situations, and then you're using each number on the dice or the total sum or a portion of each number to build up and to put the dice and get into different spaces here. So like if you have a die that has 2 and another one that has 4 and another one that has 6, then you could either do 2, 4, and 6, right? You could do 12, I guess, or you could do 2 6s.
Yeah, the dice are your workers.
Or you could do a 10 and a 2 or something. Like you could do different combinations. So I found that to be really intriguing. I really like that. I hadn't seen that mechanism anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Where you're using the dice as your workers and the number of your dice to figure out where your workers are gonna go. And then there's different functions that if you have different little cards or whatever, you could do like a number above or a number below or a couple numbers.
Yeah, there's some ways to mitigate the dice rolling, so
Yeah.
you're not completely a victim of chance, right?
So in that sense, it was really neat. It's very well put together. Like that's another thing, you know, this game you could tell hours upon hours of designing and streamlining were poured into it. The design is amazing. It's very high quality. It makes you feel like you really are in some medieval village trying to figure stuff out. I'm a high roller, even though I lost poorly. Thank you. But hey, didn't I win at all?
No, you did not.
Oh gosh.
You came a little bit closer that third time, I think. But
I
yes.
have very selective memory, as you may all have found out by now. Either way, I'm a high roller, even though I'm not a good winner. So I like to roll this high numbers over here. But you'll find that even if you roll low numbers, you probably could do more with a lot of different dice in a lot of different places.
Yes. It's very balanced in that sense.
It's very balanced. Yeah, you don't need to roll a lot or anything. And then different buildings give you abilities. So like some buildings give you abilities to build older buildings with less resources, or to build victory points, or to build army points, stuff like that. So I think that's about it, right? There's no real cards in here.
I mean, there's some cards for some expansion modules, and also a few cards for the enemies that attack at the end of the round, at the end of each winter.
Kingsborough.
But it's a great game, beautiful game, well produced, and we've had lots of fun. We like worker placement.
Look at that.
I think we both like city building games, right? Like, you know, games like Puerto Rico and San Juan, where you're building buildings and they give you abilities, but they're also like
should have been an architect.
Your victory points at the end of the game. It's really cool. Great game. Awesome. So let's move on to our next game that we've been playing recently, and that is Patchwork, designed by Uwe Rosenberg. Tell us about Patchwork,
We
Lily.
just played it. I lost for the first time in forever, right?
Well, we've only played it 3 times, but yes,
But
we've lost
I
for the first
dominated
time.
for the first 2. So, it's been a while, so I played it again with him today. Point of the matter is Patchwork. What a zen game. Really, really enjoyed it. Essentially, it has a grid of 9 by 9, and it's like playing Pac-Man. Is that what that? No, not Pac-Man.
Tetris. I think it's Tetris. Yes.
Which I didn't grow up with video games, but apparently that was a thing here in the 90s. So Tetris. It's like playing Tetris. So you put your all the pieces like in a circle, and then you have this one main piece that moves clockwise, and then from wherever the main piece happens to be, you get the next 3 things to pick out of, like the next 3 little pieces that could potentially fit your grid.
Yeah.
Essentially, you need to have money to purchase these pieces, which you will start the game with some money, but time. But you quickly find yourself out of money unless you pick the pieces that will give you money once you cross certain thresholds in the game board. It's a little complex. It sounds more complex than what it is, but it's very easy to grasp, and it's very zen-like. I really liked it.
It definitely has a feel of that minute to learn, lifetime to master kind of game.
Yeah.
Where the rules are very simple and elegant and streamlined, but from a thoughtful, strategic perspective, I feel like you can continue to like grow and get better at this game. Like it has a very high ceiling in that regard. But I like it. It has 2 different currencies. It has buttons and it has time. And Uwe has flirted with this idea of using time as a currency before. I don't remember Mercator. In a very abstracted way, he kind of creates this thing and it represents time. But I think it works well because it does give you the impression of time is running out. Because sometimes you're taking actions and you're like, oh, well, it costs a little bit of money, which is the buttons, but it costs a lot of time. And if I advance too much in the time track, I'm going to have less turns to work with in the future. So...
Yeah, because there is a finite ending to this game. There's a lot of the other games where the end doesn't happen to come until certain conditions are met. This game, that you definitely you get to the end point of the board, and so that's it. Whatever empty spaces you didn't complete will count against you, against whatever currency, which are buttons, in this case. So Uwe Rosenberg, you did it again. I really liked it. It's a much lighter version than all of his games. I think the lightest game that we've played of his. I mean,
I think Mamma Mia is lighter, but yes, it's definitely the lightest out of his great games, I would say.
Yes. I'm sorry. Wait, Mamma Mia is just why. So anyway, I'm just not into pizza.
Really good game, though. Really good game. All right.
Eating it, not making it.
And then the final game that we've been playing recently is Shipwrights of the North Sea, designed by Shem Phillips, and this is the first of the North Sea trilogy of games, which was so successful that it inspired a second trilogy of games that Shem Phillips is currently working on, the West Kingdom trilogy. So, Lily, tell us what you think about Shipwrights.
Shipwright, I'm trying to remember.
Okay, we only played this game one time, but it was only about a week ago, so it should still be fresh.
Oh yeah. Okay, so shipwrights. You're trying to build ships.
Yeah.
In order to do that, you have to get resources together, and you have to get the master builders.
Yeah, you have to get the craftsmen, the right workers.
The right craftsmen, because I guess they're Viking ships, and so they're different types. Different craftsmen will, specialize in different things. So it's a card drafting, if I remember correctly, game where the first player drafts 6 cards, and then picks one, passes it to the next player picks one, so on and so forth. So if you're the first player, you definitely have the ability to play defensively, offensively, and take stuff out that the other person needs to build their ship, whether it's resources, gold, or craftsmen that they may not come across for a while longer. So yeah, I liked it. We only played it one time, so I don't have much to say about it.
Okay.
I do like the graphic a lot. It reminded me a lot of Tokaido graphic.
Tokaido?
I know.
Are you Tokaido?
I
Are
know.
you sure you have the right game?
Yes, the Japanese thing. Look, I don't know why the graphics.
This is Norse. This has more artwork.
But it's like that very bright, very well defined.
Tokaido's white. It's like pretty much all white.
Tokaido's it's white, but it's like the colors are very bright of all those little.
Interesting.
The cars and everything, and even the pictures you're trying to put.
Well,
the point of the matter is it's very slim trim, and slim and trim.
This game has some nice resource, nice resource management. You're managing a couple different goods. I'm a very visual person. You're managing wood and stone, but you're also managing workers. You're managing your gold, and you're playing out different cards that help you build these things. And you have to have a combination of certain things in order to build these ships. You need to have a certain amount of each of those resources: wood, wool, stone, workers, gold. But on top of all that, you need to have a specific type of craftsman that is capable of building one of the 2 ships that you're trying to build at the same time, because you can only try to build 2 at the same time.
You're committed to those until the end, essentially. And not all the ships are good ships, and the game ends after 3 of them are built. 4 of them are built, so you really should choose wisely. Yeah. And make sure you build things that will actually pay dividends. And
it's definitely a take that game. There's a lot of opportunities to be mean to one another. So that is one thing. That. Yeah, exactly, right?
I was very nice to you, though.
You were.
Which is unlike
exactly. But I'm sure the next time you'll come back with a vengeance. So that's it. These are the 5 games we've been playing in recent times. Lily, how about you pick 2 for us that you feel stood out head and shoulders above the rest out of these 5 games?
Definitely Kingsborough. I feel like Kingsborough will be a family favorite for years to come.
I absolutely agree.
Harry here has made some comments that made me think that he may pick it in his top 10.
Maybe.
We'll see what else we play. I guess he might or he may not.
Maybe it's made a good first impression.
Essentially, I'm stuck playing whatever Harry would like to play. So, if a game clicks with me and does not with him, I'm out of luck. But in this case, we're good. A Zen game that I will go to, even if I'm half asleep at night when I came home late from work and I just need to unwind. This will be in my Sushi Go and in my what is that other thing? The little dice thing?
Sagrada?
No.
Azul,
and in the Azul category.
Yeah.
And the other one I was really intrigued about was Shipwrights. But I really, really liked it.
Oh, okay. So you're actually gonna lump it up with those 3. You're still on the fence about it, maybe.
No, it's just that we only played it once, and it was the most recent one. So I feel like the other ones, because we liked it more, we've played it a couple more times.
It does have some cool mechanisms that I know you've liked before.
But I see potential.
The card drafting, you like that. The resource management and building buildings and ships. Similar concepts that you've liked before. I think the only thing that makes this game a little bit different than your typical wheelhouse of game is how potentially cutthroat it could be, right? Because usually the games you like are not as cutthroat.
That's true. But it's not like cutthroat like in a horrible way. Like, I mean, I guess you can really cripple a person and they can never win after that.
Yeah, you don't have to be mean.
You have an option.
You do have the option, but
it's not like that other game that we played. What was it?
Babel?
Was it Babel about the Babylonians? No.
Oh, Tigers and Euphrates.
Tigers and Euphrates.
Oh no, Tigers and Euphrates is all battle. I forgot about that.
It's like you start at one end of the corner, right? And like the other person starts at the other end, and then you'll eventually have to fight. Like you cannot avoid it. Like here, you can use your effort.
You can slightly hold back your take that.
So
yeah.
Don't take don't let that
yeah.
you know, keep you from trying it. I feel like definitely the art is very fine.
Well, I like the art.
It's very
if
nice.
That's what you're saying, then I agree.
Yes,
I like
it's very
it.
nice.
Yeah.
Very bright. It's very nice.
So let's move on to our upcoming games.
Like
games that we will be playing in the next couple weeks that will be new to us. Most of these are going to be new to me as well. There is one here that I have played before and Lily hasn't. So first, let's start with this game here, which is Cusco. And this is a reprint of Java, which is the sequel.
Java?
Yeah, Java. It's the sequel
to
in the
Tikal.
Tikal trilogy of games. This is a sequel to Tikal. Really, really excited about this game. Beautiful components, similar, Aztec or, native theme. In this case, it's Inca. You are great Inca dignitaries fighting for political supremacy in the Andes. You must exploit the new, still virgin territory of Moray, north of Cusco, a vast region between forests and mountains. Now, the pieces are gorgeous. They're three-dimensional. This is the second go at it with designers Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling, who are designers you'd like, because Wolfgang Kramer has produced games like El Grande, Tikal, Colosseum. Michael Kiesling has produced Tikal, and he's also produced Azul. He's the creator of Azul. So these are designers that you've respected the designs. Again, I think the aesthetic looks like it will be pleasing to Lily. And again, it has the action point allowance system from Tikal, where you have a certain amount of actions, I think 10, but each action is worth a different amount of actions, so you gotta budget it and map it out. So that's really cool. So that's one of the games we'll be learning. We're also gonna be learning a Castle for All Seasons, back to the Brand couple, Inca and Marcus Brand, the husband and wife couple. And we played a few games. Yep, same game as Exit. They also are the designers of Encore, the roll and write game we've played. This is like a worker placement game, medieval times, beautiful Michael Menzel board, which we like Michael Menzel boards in games like Cuba, Pillars of the Earth. There's some extra stuff. And I guess players are all working, like we're competing, but we're building a castle together. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Pillars of the Earth. I wonder if this is a novel itself. It sounds like the name of a novel, A Castle for All Seasons. I've never really heard of it. I'm sorry, I'm an uncultured swine. But it sounds like our wheelhouse of game, resource management, city building, worker placement, medieval theme type of Euro game. So there's that. We also got Wisdom of Solomon, which is a reprint of the Temple of Solomon, I think it was called, which is a Bible-themed game with worker placement, some route connection, and resource management. And I am really, really intrigued myself about combining some of those mechanisms, because those are some of my favorite mechanisms in board games. So there's that. We have Paris Connection, which is another train themed game. So let's see if this one falls flat for Lily. But this is like a light 18xx game, and 18xx is a style of game within the board game hobby. It's a very niche style of game where it's a train theme, but really what people are building routes, but what they're really trying to do is they're trying to grow train companies and invest in stocks. It's a very heady, economical type of game. Okay. This is not that. This is a super duper light gateway into that, right? Like the mechanisms are super simple. It's only 30 minutes of gameplay. The recommended age is 8 and over. But it's a similar concept where you're creating routes, and the actual routes are made up of little train meeples. And based on how big these routes are, that determines which company is more valuable. And based on how many meeples each player has hidden in this screen, you have this screen that hides, your possessions. Based on whoever has like the most meeples in a color, that means you have the most stocks or the most shares in that stock. And since it's hidden, you might have an idea of who has the most stock in, let's say, the red train line, but you may or may not know.
The money game in that sense? Was it the money game or the...
I mean, I think this reminds you a little bit more of Airlines Europe.
Yeah, I was going to say Airlines Europe with a combination of that art game. Was it?
Oh, modern art?
I think it was a modern art.
Well, it's like modern art that it has a screen that's hidden. Yeah. I think that's the only thing I could think of. But yeah, I think it reminds a little bit of Airlines Europe in that sense. But it sounds cool. It sounds neat. And train theme, I don't know. I have a thing for train theme. And this is the one game that I have played, and that is Five Tribes. I love Five Tribes. This is an amazing game. It is by far my favorite game that I've never played with Lily. I don't even know why, because I know she will love this game. So this is a Mancala mechanism, which Mancala is like an ancient African game where players are moving pieces along a board, and on the way they're dropping pieces off. But in this case, the pieces are the meeples. So you're moving different meeples, and how many meeples you grab determine how many spaces you can move.
Oh, wow.
Each space moving one away, but the final space you have, that meeple that you're dropping off in that final space needs to match the color of a meeple that is on that final space. And then you collect those meeples, and all the different colored meeples are asymmetric. They give you different benefits once you capture them or get them. And also the tile that you land on itself has like a little worker placement action that gets triggered from that. You're also buying these resources here that you can trade in, like different sets, to get more and more money. And money is is your points also. You're also seeking the favor of the genies, and they give you different special abilities and also victory points. And you're also trying to control the different areas on the board. It has so much stuff going on that you would think it's too much. But when you play this game, at least for me, and even some of the other people I played it with, it feels just right. It's like, wow, it's just an amazing combination of all these different cool mechanisms, and it's gorgeous. Beautiful looking presentation when you see it on the board. And on top of it all, you even have this really cool auction mechanism for turn order. So at the beginning of each turn, you're bidding for turn order, but in a really cool and neat way. So that's Five Tribes. So out of these 5 games, how about you tell us 2 that stand out the most to you as far as your curiosity is concerned?
Well, thanks, babe, because I feel like you've curated everything to my liking. Been to India, and maybe I will fulfill the prophecy, right?
Yeah.
Right. Five Tribes. You've been playing this for a while.
I have been playing this for a while. A year and a half or so, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I haven't. I remember seeing it laid out when other people are coming over. I'm usually busy with other things when that happens, but I'm appreciative that he's finally teaching it to me. So I'm intrigued about all of them. I have to say, there's not one of them. Maybe the Paris Connection, but we'll see. Wisdom of Solomon, a great game to probably play on Sabbath, and if it's good enough, we'll play it on the other days of the week as well. And the Castle for All Seasons. I'm intrigued about this couple that normally makes very tiny games, and
I mean, they make big games too.
Oh,
we just haven't happened to play. This will be our first big box Ink at Marcus brand, but they make a lot of big box games.
It looks really good.
It does look good.
It looks really, really good. And that's a huge thing. I'm a very, very visual person, so if
the aesthetic is important.
You may have an amazing game that looks horrible, and you never put time and refine it. Just pay the extra whatever it is and get somebody else to draw it. Cusco, been there some 14 years ago. Let's see if I remember anything of what it was like to be an archaeology wannabe. But I really like Tikal, so I'm very excited. I've been asking Harry what the sequels of Tikal are, and he told me that we had Cusco and we had
Mexica is the other one.
Mexica?
Yeah, Mexica.
Mexica as well. So eventually, maybe in 2025, he'll teach me Mexica. But in the meantime,
so
Cusco it is.
It sounds like you're interested in all of them.
All of them.
You don't want to single out one or two?
I'm interested in the Five Tribes, Cusco, and the Castle for All Seasons.
Okay.
And I'm most interested in those 3, and then I'm curious about the other ones.
Okay.
Been to Paris. There was no train going up the Eiffel Tower, but I'm excited to the whole. I like what is it called, the stock market type games. I've always liked those games. Like the few of them we've played, I feel like I like the mechanisms, even though we gave it away. Didn't we give away the high-low, buy-low, sell
I did
high?
sell buy low, sell high. Yeah, I sold it. Yeah.
Because he did not sell high.
Yeah, I always lost at that game. I'll admit. All right, so let's talk about some of the upcoming purchases, and basically I'm just gonna say them, maybe give a brief description, and Lily's gonna give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. All right, so one of the things that acquisitions I'm looking to make is it's a very small, cheap, what they call a 7th anniversary pack for 7 Wonders, in particular for the Leaders expansion. And basically what it does, it adds like 25, 30 new leaders to the Leaders expansion, which are the cards that we draft before the game that kind of give us some strategic direction to the game. I've had lots of fun. I've always loved 7 Wonders, but ever since we started playing with Leaders about 1.5 years ago, I feel like it's opened up a whole new door to 7 Wonders, and it really, and also just the historical, you know, even though it's abstracted, but the historical figures that you've read about and heard about your whole life, is kind of cool to draft them and see how their powers tie in with that. So what do you think about that?
All right, so you're gonna get 7 more leaders, or a pack
No.
of 7 different things?
It's called a 7-year anniversary pack,
okay.
but it's not 7 more leaders. I think it's like 25, 30 leaders.
Yeah,
I'll
be into that. We usually play with the nephews with the 7 Wonders, but I guess, is it gonna be for the 2-player game sometime?
No, it's only for the multiplayer game.
Right.
But I play that game a lot, and
I
you
know.
join us quite often too. So, all right. So then there is Patchwork Doodle, which is a roll and write version of Patchwork by designer Uwe Rosenberg. It's one of his first roll and write games, which roll and writes have become very popular lately. You and I have had great success with roll and writes games like Roll Through the Ages, King Domino Duel, Encore. These are games that we've played and we've enjoyed. So I think that style of game, it usually lends itself to like quick gameplay experiences, Zen-like experiences as you would describe them, but at the same time feeling fun, and it still feels strategic. So I'm curious to see what he will do with the Patchwork system into a roll and write. So what do you think?
Uwe,
yep.
Uwe
Rosenberg, yep. All right, absolutely. Okay.
You don't have to even ask.
Oh, then I might not have to ask for the next one, because the next one is Second Chance, which is a flip and write game designed by Uwe Rosenberg, which is kind of, flip and write is like an evolution of the roll and write, where instead of rolling the dice and then drawing something on a pen and pad, you're flipping a card, and based on that card, drawing something on a pen and pad. Very similar. They're like sister mechanisms. But again, it's Uwe Rosenberg.
The card is the dice.
Exactly. The randomization is determined by the card. So it's Uwe Rosenberg. It's this new style of game. We're used to some of his bigger, heavier, more complex games. These are like simple, light games, but
I'm all about simple and light.
I just feel like, yeah, I know, right? Well, I don't know. You're a very big contrast. Lily likes light games, but she also likes heavy games. I don't think she likes the in-between ones as much. But so what do you think about Second Chance?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, yay or nay?
I'm about second chances.
Okay.
Chances too.
Awesome. The name says it all. All right. Well, that's it as far as the upcoming purchases. And that's it for today's episode of Lily's Top Games of the Month. Board Games of the Bride. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. How about you comment down below? Have you played any of the games that we talked about today? What do you think about them? Do you disagree with Lily's opinions?
About Steam?
Because if you do, it's okay. I kind of disagree with them too. Anyways, thank you guys so much.
It is the video about my opinion, right? So like, you could disagree.
Yeah.
In an amicable way.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Harry.
And this is Lily.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have fun gaming. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.